Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of SWAT MMA. That is the Smoking Weed and Talking MMA podcast, and that's what we're about to do. I'm Jared. That's Paul over there lighting up the joint. We're about to smoke some Dream Queen, grown by Matrix out here in Nevada. This is sativa. It's actually a cross of Blue Dream and Space Queen, which are a couple of fine herbs. Getting that joint going all right over there, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Word. Have you smoked Dream Queen before?
No, it's my first time.
Oh, you'll like it. This is one of my favorite
Tastes
all-time
really
strains. Yeah, this shit is really good. Oh, we got a lot of different cannabis we're going to be smoking today while we're talking about the fights.
Oh, yeah.
We got this Dream Queen here. We got some Cactus OG. We got some Mendo Cream. Got a little bit of a... this is a Bananimals distillate, which is a 93% THC distillate in there. We were hitting some dabs before we came on the air. Got a little bong going on over here. Most of this came from my friends at Zen Leaf Dispensary, which is a cool place Paul went to for the first time today. Did you like that?
For the first time today, it's pretty badass.
That's pretty dope.
They had all the weed just like already. It's not prepackaged like everywhere else.
Yeah, that's the main thing I like about it. And like, they're not sponsoring us or anything, people. This is just our honest opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Like, just
and then like as we got like the weed we were getting, they like showed us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they break down a big jar. They take the lid off. You can check it out, smell it. It's a different experience than going to somewhere where it's prepackaged.
Well, a lot of times, like when you go into dispensaries, it feels so like I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like not very. I don't know. Sometimes it feels.
You could get that same service out of a vending machine.
Yeah, that's exactly like it's like everyone get in line, show up. You know what you want before you get to the counter, and then we'll have it ready for you.
Right,
you know
they give you your package, and you leave.
The fuck out.
I don't know, it's weird. Zen Leaf is a little more personal. Like, you can pick it out. You can smell all kinds of different weed. You can, I don't know, it's just a different experience. Like, I come from Colorado, Paul, and that's what it's like everywhere out there, at least when I was there. It was pretty cool. It's nice to see that here. But we're saying we got lots of different weed. We got lots of fights to talk about. We had UFC 225 last night, which, despite having a lot of...
It's a great card.
Yeah, despite having a lot of decisions, exactly. A lot of times when you have decisions and split decisions, you have kind of a shitty card.
Sometimes you get a lot of snoozers, but there was about 4 different fights on that card that could have been fight of the night. And
yeah, I would agree. There were some killer fights on there.
There were some good ones. Even in the undercard, honestly, the undercard was extremely entertaining. Like,
even the Fight Pass prelims had solid fights.
Well, it's like this card was so stacked. You're having like Pettis Benavidez on the undercard, Rashad Evans on the undercard, the Gedalia versus Esparza fights on the undercard, like even Blades Overeem's on the undercard. Like, what the hell? Like, it's very rare that you see like people at that level on an undercard. Normally they're on main event fight nights, shit like that.
Absolutely, it felt like a specialty card, like UFC 200 or something that was super stacked, which was nice because we've had a lot of shitty cards lately. They've had a handful of good fights on them.
Well, yeah, it's everyone is either hurt, got legal troubles, completely like have just been on a slump. Like, everyone it's weird,
it's a downtime for the UFC right now, for sure.
I don't know if it's a downtime, though, because, like, there's a lot of, at the same time, there's also a lot of young guys that are, like, filling in that are making a lot of noise, but just haven't been proven yet, like Adesanya and, even Mike Perry. Mike Perry's one of those guys that is, like, he's on the cusp. And then there's like, a lot of, like, there's, like, an influx of young talent. Darren Till, obviously. Even Cowboy fighting that guy Leon Edwards, he's pretty solid for a young guy. Gillespie, even even Mirsad Bektic kind of like put his on the rise. Put his hat in the ring there last night. Sean O'Malley, yep. It's just a bunch of young guns that are they haven't took the spotlight yet, but they're on their way if they can continue to win fights.
I think what I meant more by downtime was maybe not necessarily like ratings wise or fighters wise, but like we've got a lot of fights falling off to injury. We've got a lot of fighters missing weight. We've got a
And
lot
I think that's due to the number of events. It's hard to fight. It's hard to make every single
This
fighter.
is what I was gonna say.
It's hard to make every single fighter on your roster fight 3 times a year.
And they're filling out the last ass end of the Fox deal, which is coming to a close.
I
They're
think
not
that's
gonna
going
get
to
a lot of
change
good
things
fights
for
with
them,
that.
though. My thing is, with ESPN, it's going to be so much more like, I hate to say, like, easily marketable,
Oh,
but,
it will
like, it will be because it'll be, like, it'll be a household name, like, although it already is, majority is, like, a household name.
It gets
but-
coverage on ESPN already, but it's going to get that special
It's gonna get-
coverage
yeah.
because it's owned by, or not owned,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they've got those broadcast
Yep.
rights. It's their baby. They're going to mention it all the time. It's going to get
Just
that extra love.
they kind of have done with boxing recently. Boxing is getting a lot of good, like, a lot of their, like, honestly, Lomachenko, a lot of people know his name from because he's on ESPN fighting for free on Friday nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
UFC is going to get that same love now,
Same love,
and
for
that
sure.
makes for an exciting next year. Like I don't know how
100%.
we're going to get
Well,
the
and
TV
then-
cards that we haven't got set yet might suck from here on out.
Yeah,
But they're gonna load up
here's
for
the
next
thing
year.
is that they're dropping the Ultimate Fighter, and that Tuesday Night Contender Series isn't going to be on Fight Pass anymore. It's going to be on ESPN.
Right.
So I think that's going to get even more people's name out there for like a guy like Sean O'Malley, who was everyone watched his fight on Fight Pass and was still he was able to be like a huge star.
Absolutely,
Now
he's about the
imagine-
main event.
Yeah, imagine now you get a guy at like the same ability as him, and he goes out there and knocks his guy out on national television on, Tuesday night fights, and everyone just like, sometimes when you're bored, you just turn ESPN on, and then you see some kid beating the shit out of someone. You're like, oh my god, I want to see that again, and that's how that whole narrative will like continue to go once they're on the ESPN spotlight. I feel like.
It's a really smart move by Dana and William Morris Endeavor to do the Tuesday night fights, especially getting rid of, we often talk about Tufts kind of played out, but UFC needs kind of a feeder league, and Tuesday night fights can serve as that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we were just discussing before the fight,
Yeah.
or before the podcast, you were saying that
It's
people
almost
can
like the
appear
D
multiple
League.
times
Yeah, they
now.
were talking about there's going to be some people who appear multiple times when they win. Obviously, if they lose, or I don't know, maybe if they do lose, maybe someone loses a split decision or something, they bring them back on the show. But I guess there will be like guys on there multiple times. So you get a guy, maybe he fights 2 or 3 times in Dana White's Contender Series, and then finally on the third fight, he gets signed. X amount of people have already seen him and seen him fight.
Right. Well, speaking
Sells
of this,
itself, honestly.
I have something I want to talk about with this Tuesday night Contender Series, just because it came up last night in the post-fight press conference with Dana. Ariel Helwani asked him how he could have Greg Hardy on the Tuesday night Contender Series, and Dana proceeded to just kind of say a lot of, well, he never got convicted, and he played for other football teams, and then he actually said everybody deserves a second chance. I don't know. He's going to be on this upcoming episode. I'm really not down with that whole thing. I just
Here's
gotta
my
put my
deal.
2 cents in.
Here's my deal. It's not like he just like got popped for something that was just like bullshit and it ruined his reputation off some bullshit. No, he damn near beat a girl half to death, dude.
Now he's going to go fight on
and
TV
then
for our
he's-
entertainment.
I just can't get behind someone like that.
I love the Tuesday night Contender Series.
Don't get me
It's
wrong.
the one thing. Fuck that fight.
Don't get me wrong,
Fuck
though,
Greg
like,
Hardy.
it's different because his actions outside of what happened haven't spoke for anything, like let's take it back to like the whole what really happened that whole season and affect his suspension as well is when Ray Rice punched his wife on national television and everyone was like, oh my god. And then let's not forget that Greg Hardy's suspension was only 4 games before that Ray Rice thing happened.
Right.
And then after the Ray Rice thing happened, it got extended to 10. And then he, I think it ended up as like 8 or something like that. And it's like, all these fools, like when Ray Rice did that, after that he spent like, donated millions of dollars to like women in those situations and stuff like that, and was like a spokesman for saying like, hey man, I fucked up, but everyone needs to realize that's not okay. What I did is not okay. Greg Hardy, I don't know personally. I didn't hear anything of him like doing stuff like that.
Maybe he has, but I haven't
apologized.
heard about
He
it.
apologized, but it never seemed like it was ever like really sincere. It was more like, sorry, I got caught. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, we're never going to know what's going on in that dude's heart. But this is different. Dana's saying everybody deserves a second chance. Yeah, okay, maybe, whatever. But we're talking about fucking fighting. It's the very thing he just did to his girl. He put his fist to her.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go watch him put his fist to a man, and we're supposed to be entertained by it. It's not the same thing. It's not like you get a second shot in the NFL. Or
Yeah, but everyone gave Floyd Mayweather the pass.
Yeah, everybody gives fucking Floyd a pass because he brings in so much money. What is Greg Hardy bringing in money-wise? And I'm not saying that's right. That's reality.
That's what's yet to be seen. What if he goes on this Contender Series and ends up being a fucking sensation, knocks the guy out in 10 seconds or something like that?
Then I can't stop thinking about, damn, and you did that to your girl?
Yeah.
Like, you put them hands on your girl, and you're, like, a professional with them?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree with you, but it's just, at the same time, I see where the UFC is attempting to make money off of his name. I'm not saying it's right.
Right.
What I'm saying is I can see where they're coming from with choosing to possibly sign him.
I mean, really, Paul, the Greg Hardy thing just seems like another in a long line of steps the UFC does and moves they make, just blatant hopes at cash grabs like CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk is 100% cash grab. And, I mean,
let's talk about it, yeah.
I mean, last night it was extremely obvious, you know.
I expected more.
I didn't see the numbers, but I wonder what he got paid.
His last fight, he got $500,000 plus undisclosed pay-per-view points. I would imagine it's at least the same for this one.
Same, yeah.
It's not going to go down with a loss. That he wouldn't have been that stupid.
Well, Dana said it's probably a good idea for him to retire, and I agree.
Look, we both picked him last night.
I picked him because not that I believed in him. It was more that I didn't believe in Mike Jackson, honestly. Just because, like, it's different, man. CM Punk is some entertainer that just showed up and was and got beat up by Mickey Gall.
Right.
This guy, everyone has been talking all week about how he was a Golden Gloves boxer. He kickboxes. He boxes. He had multiple pro fights in both. He had 20, or what was it? Like
he had
10?
9 amateur fights.
Yeah. Yeah. 9. Sorry.
Chicago Golden Gloves.
No, but he had 9 amateur MMA fights.
Yeah,
also.
9 amateur MMA fights.
So it's like everyone's trying to make it out to seem like it's like, oh, these guys are leveled. No, they're not.
No, not even close.
It's still like there's still levels to this shit, man. Like CM Punk can train for the next 5 years. He'll never win a fight in the UFC. I'm sorry, it'll never happen.
No. I was hoping he would. I mean, I picked him.
And Mike Jackson, fuck you, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what are you doing in there?
If fucking bolo, lasso, punch, asshole
and if you're going to
shit.
hurt him, put him away. Make your name for yourself. Don't be known as the guy that just embarrassed. Oh, yeah, you embarrassed him, bro. Yeah, you fucking beat it.
Dude, he was already embarrassed. He was getting his ass kicked on
exactly.
national television.
Well, it's not even that, like, I'm defending, like, CM Punk is like, oh, don't do that to him. It's like, dude, you are not that much better than him.
Mm-mm.
And you're out here trying to act like you are.
And everybody in the UFC
because he doesn't know what he's doing. That's like when, just like in any sport, if you
it's a professional making fun of an amateur, not barely an amateur.
5 years and some kid came in his first day, you're like, hey bro, let's spar. You're gonna beat his ass.
Well, yeah.
And same thing. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like.
I sparred plenty of newcomers in my days in the gym, dude. And you don't gloat when you whoop somebody's ass that doesn't know what they're doing. You're not a prick about it. They don't know what they're doing.
How can you? Not just being an asshole.
How can you feel good about that?
Go.
How can you feel good because you whooped on somebody's ass who doesn't know how to fight?
Stupid.
Comparatively.
Yeah.
It's retarded.
So really
fuck Mike Jackson too. I'm not down with that. And let me tell you, I picked CM Punk honestly because I was hoping he would win because it would add some tiny measure of legitimacy to this whole fucking experiment.
Well, and at the same time,
tiny.
I more believed in Duke Roufus than I did CM Punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I figured he would be a bit better.
I believed in Duke Rufus's camp more than I believed that CM Punk had ability.
That's the other thing. I mean, I expected more. It's been 2 years since his last fight. I honestly thought he would look a bit better, and I thought he'd have more of a gas tank than one fucking round.
Well, everyone needs to realize that was legitimately that was his first fight, because the first fight he had was over so quick.
A fight. That was
this was his first
It
time.
was like bully
actually
beatdown
having
with
to-
Jason
yeah.
Mayhem back in the day.
Yeah.
It was,
Like, that was the first fight he actually had to, like, blow his lungs out, freaking fight the whole 5 minutes, you know.
kid showed
and-
heart. Or not kid, he's 39 fucking years old, but
Old as fuck.
he showed some heart, man. He took some shots. He kept going. Took
Well,
some deep breaths. Showed some
And the
grit.
narrative of the week has been that he's going to go back and fight and do pro wrestling again. Which I wouldn't judge him for, you know.
You do your
Why?
thing.
Yeah.
I'm not into that shit. I was when I was like 10 and 12.
I was into that shit when I was a kid.
You know,
But, like, I don't know, like,
I don't hate people for liking it. I don't know shit about it anymore.
yeah, I don't really follow it anymore. But there's nothing wrong with that, dude. Make your money.
Well, do your thing, man.
But, yeah, he needs to go for sure.
Yeah, he can't. We can't do this anymore. That was embarrassing. It was. Those punches really made me mad when he was half mounted on him doing that.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
That fucking. My boy
He
called
was
it a
missing.
lasso punch.
He was missing quite a few times, too.
That was what like a middle school fucking bully does to some
Dude.
little kid. Like that was not. Oh, it was a terrible
CM
look on a
Punk
pay per
definitely
view.
won round one, though.
I agree. CM Punk won the first round.
He just imagine CM Punk at a full gas tank. I bet you he beats Mike Jackson.
He might have because his problem was he got
He gassed after the first.
man. He was done.
That's why he was laying on his back, dude. He wasn't even trying to get up. He was taking those punches because he's like, "Fuck, man, too tired to fucking stop you right now." Same thing with that De La Rocha fight, dude. The only reason he won was because that fool was just too tired just
Rocha.
blocking, dude.
Yeah.
It was like that was a terrible fight.
That reminded me of like the Tough Man contests I used to watch back in the, like a local Colorado Springs Tough Man
Yeah.
contest. It was just a couple big out of shape dudes winging it.
It's strange because like this card had like a couple of
No.
those ones that were like kind of like what the fuck, but they were still entertaining. You
No,
what
it
I
was
mean?
entertaining.
Like,
I ain't gonna lie. I was
like,
enjoyed watching it, but it
it
just
hurt me to watch Rashad get knocked out though, dude.
and we both picked Rashad, and I'll tell you why.
I didn't pick Rashad because I thought he was gonna win. I
No.
picked Rashad because Rashad keeps talking about how he's chasing this last win. I just wanted him to win so he'd retire, but now he's talking about retiring. It was sad to see him get KO'd.
Yeah, we're not making betting fight picks here. I mean, these are
No.
half the picks that I did as well as you did were fights we want this person to win, and I
I'm not
really
gonna lie,
wanted
dude. I'm
Rashad
biased
to
as
win.
fuck, but
Yeah,
I don't
forget-
care.
We're not journalists.
Like,
We're not trying to be journalists. We're fans here, and I didn't want to see that, man. God, that was brutal.
Yeah, it was
Anthony
pretty rough.
Smith is a killer.
Anthony Smith has a future, man.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
got really
That's
good
a
size.
Big boy right there.
That was just perfect technique. Also, he just
I know he
you
laid
know,
that
just
head
framed
right
the head.
down.
Bop! Put him
Rashad,
to bed.
I don't know how Rashad stayed
Dude.
in that position, but damn,
It's been
Damn,
this
that was
whole
brutal.
tentative Rashad that we've seen for like the last few years, where he's just like so like shy away of like getting in big flurries or any kind of exchange, and he just
he's the last of the
tried to
OGs
close
too.
the distance and got KO'd, dude. Is what happened.
He's the last of that OG class. I mean, he was tough season 2.
Yep. No, it's Joe. Oh wait, no, that's
Tough season 2 at heavyweight. That's a long time ago. Is anybody else left? I mean, Vitor is
GSP.
gone now. GSP is
I know
what,
GSP is on fucking was the coach
retired
of the
again, I
second
guess.
one. Right? Is he?
that was brutal. I mean, Dana's saying he's retired. He hasn't come out and
Yeah, I
said he
got
is, but I mean, he's obviously not fighting. He relinquished a belt.
Well, speaking of another guy who retired this week, Michael Bisping.
Well, let's fin. If you didn't hear, folks, listen to
Oh,
now.
yeah,
Rashad, did
Rashad
retire this morning.
Retired this morning, yeah.
Yeah, so thank God.
Thank God. And Bisping and him were talking about that was going to be the last fight was him versus those two, and then I think
That would have been a much more
with
competitive
Bisping
fight.
retiring, I think that made Rashad like retire because they were talking about doing a fight where it was going to be both their last fight against each other.
That would have been a much more competitive fight.
Much more.
That's like a
Honestly, I don't
Bellator
know though. I think
Legends tour.
Bisping's a way better spot than Rashad is right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think Bisping would win handily, but I don't think Rashad
Like-
would get brutally KO'd in the first 50 seconds
Honestly,
by a giant
I
knee.
think if Bisping wasn't beat up by GSP like 2 weeks before, I think he could have beat Kevin Gosselin.
Yeah, it was timing on that fight.
Yeah.
It was all about timing. It was not a good
He was
move.
rattled, bro.
Yeah,
Like
he was.
after he got hit once, and he was just like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
already concussed."
Oh, he shouldn't have taken that fight.
No, not at all. I don't know how they sanctioned that.
Me
But
neither.
then again, it was over. Wasn't it like
That's
China?
it. That's what I was saying. It was in Singapore. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Speaking of which, you wanna hear something interesting? At Singapore, I was listening. Did you hear Sean O'Malley on the JRE? And they were talking about how
you could get pulled over.
yes, folks, listening. If you do not know this, in Singapore, the government can randomly pull over not just citizens but visitors, drug test you, and if you
Put
have
you in jail.
anything in your system, including weed that you smoked in your legal town in the United States 2 weeks ago, they'll put you in jail for a year. A year
Depending
in a
on how
Singapore
much. You said the max
fucking
is like
jail.
5 years. Or something like
Talking about caning people too.
yeah,
Caning
two
people.
canes after you freaking
Yeah, so if you have if you're listening
After
to
the
our
third one.
podcast and you have travel plans, you might want to mark Singapore off that list.
yeah, Jesus.
But anyways, Rashad, now Bisbing has retired. Rashad, thankfully, has retired after that brutal KO. We
Yeah.
got some other fights that were pretty
You know who else
interesting.
should retire?
Who's that?
Alistair Overeem.
Oh, God, yes.
Fuck, man, he got busted up so quick at the end there. Those
Yeah.
last few elbows, at first he was fine. You know, he was getting beat up, but seemed like it was just gonna be like an average Curtis Blades fight where he's gonna take a guy down a few times. You know, just rattled him a little bit on the feet, but ended up taking him down anyways, kind of smothering him. But then he really wasn't doing much damage. Then right at the end, when he got that TKO, those elbows,
Dude, those last two, man, his fucking face
Dude, he
exploded, man. Ooh.
that shit was.
And that's
nasty.
a lot of KOs for Alistar now.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know how much longer he can do this.
he's taking brain damage every time that happens.
I think he
You
should
need-
go to Bellator because
That's his
I
head.
think he still has. I still think he has the want to fight in him, but I don't think he has the level of these UFC guys right now. And he's still in the top 5 no matter what because they don't have a lot of talent coming up in the heavyweight division.
in the
So it's
ranking
like-
system so flawed. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not.
so
He's
he's
probably going to
gonna-
move down one
he's
spot
gonna-
in the rankings after
He's gonna
this.
get
So
fucking, Mark Hunt next or something, and he's
no.
gonna get stuck again, or he's someone like that. Obviously, Mark Hunt and him have already fought, so I don't know.
but no, he's just going to face another killer
But,
in the
yeah.
UFC who's going to knock him silly, most likely. Or even worse, he wins
Or,
and has
yeah,
to fight
he
someone
wins
even
and-
better.
yeah.
I mean, there comes a time you just
You gotta walk away sometimes.
yeah.
And maybe not even walk away, but you gotta realize that you're not at that level anymore.
And if the ranking systems were more accurate,
because
he
Fedor
would
knows
tumble
at what
down.
level he is, he had the chance to sign with the UFC.
Of course he did.
The money was there, the numbers were there, and he still chose to sign with Bellator.
Right, because he knew.
Because he
Yeah.
knew that he was not at the level he was before, and it would have been a terrible idea. Because think about it, that was when Cain Velasquez was champion. Cain Velasquez would have dominated him.
Would have mauled him. Yeah.
Yeah, even Stipe.
Look,
Stipe would whoop his
Matt
fucking
Mitrione
ass.
legitimately beat him. Matt Mitrione's a
Yeah.
top 10 UFC heavyweight, but he's not a fucking. He's not a.
Didn't
Cain
Mitrione and
Velasquez level.
Stipe fight?
I do believe so. Caught me off guard with that one, but I think so.
Matt Mitrione's a dirty fighter. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, Travis Brown.
Ah,
What else we got? We got Curtis Blades. So, what do you think, man? He KOs over him. You feel this dude's a legit contender? Or you think he needs to prove himself a bit more,
I
Paul?
think he needs to prove himself a little bit more. I think his heart's there, and like his like, I don't know. I don't think his striking is very well rounded. Honestly, it's a little robotic, but his wrestling makes up for it. And in this division, there's only so long you can do that until you fight these guys up there like Stipe, like Kane. Junior Dos Santos kind of can defend it, take down pretty well.
Junior still fights?
That's the same point as Overeem.
Him
Though.
and Kane are
It's just like old people in that division. Fabricio, if he fought Fabricio, that'd be tough for him, dude.
Fabricio's out, 2 years now?
Yeah, but still, you know what I mean.
I said,
It's just I don't know if Blades can really.
who do you like to see him fight next?
I'd say Volkov.
Volkov, Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, just because
I like that fight. That's good.
I don't know though, because that's still kind of his wheelhouse. Because Volkov's not a great wrestler. He's a good striker.
Yeah, Volkov needs the test too, though, right?
Yep. Well, and I think they both need that win, too, to catapult them to a title shot. And Volkov is second. Then this will probably put Blades at 3 after last night.
Yeah, Volkov will be 2, Blade should be 3.
And Kane 1.
I believe so.
Is Kane
Pull
1?
up the rankings over there if you want. I don't think Kane's should even be ranked at this point, honestly. I mean, because you beat Travis Brown a year and a half ago. Travis Brown's retired, didn't he?
Did he?
He's not signed with anybody. The UFC let him go. He married Ronda Rousey.
I didn't
Nobody's picked him up. At least I'm pretty certain he is quasi-retired. He's not had a fight in forever. And he's not making any noise about any fights.
That's
The last I seen of him was an Instagram video of like Ronda cooking him some eggs after they got married. Like I don't think.
Francis Ngannou is still number one. What the
Well,
fuck?
that's the flawed system. Like that's what I mean. That's not the real number one contender.
Blades, Dos Santos,
This is a joke.
then Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is fuck. So if Derek Lewis beats Ngannou, he just gets Stipe next. So what's gonna happen? Stipe would dominate Derek Lewis.
And people listening, you might ask, well, if the UFC rankings are so flawed, why do you continue to go to them instead of using like the MMA World Rankings? It's because this is what the
Because this
UFC
is what the
bases it on,
UFC
so it
bases
doesn't
their-
matter what
This
the
is what they base their
more
matchmaking
legit
off
ranking
this year.
systems are of heavyweights or anybody else. This is what we got.
Yep,
It's a fucking joke.
it's a joke for sure, but there's really nothing.
Well, we know Ngannou's not getting a title shot, so now Alistair isn't.
That's yet to be seen. Because what if Daniel Cormier wins and then Ngannou beats Derek Lewis, and then they're like, okay, it's a different fighter, and now, let's say,
Yeah,
Still have
they
Kane
could-
out.
There's a
they're
possibility.
still like,
I heard it rumored Kane's not fighting this year, period. And there comes a point in time when he just
he's
can't come
not
back
ranked
anymore.
anymore.
Okay. Well, he shouldn't be, and no offense and no disrespect, but I think Kane's time has passed.
Do you?
I do. I think he's way too injured.
I think that, but getting
And I
through,
think it's his gym.
if he gets through
mentality.
a training camp, I think he has the skills to beat anybody in this division. If he can get healthy for one more fight and fight Stipe, I think he possibly could beat him.
Well, I can't deny. I mean, I can't disagree with that. If he could get healthy and fight, could he? I don't think he can. And if he could
At
fight at that same
100%.
level, like the same level as we saw him 2-3 years ago, but does he have that, or did all that go to DC in the gym, and we just don't know it yet because it's been 2 years and he fought fucking Travis Brown. I mean, no disrespect to Travis Brown, but Travis Brown is not the same fighter as he was either. He used to be a hot prospect, then he went over to Edmund Tarverdian, and now he's a different fucking fighter. I don't know who he's with now or who he went to after that.
Yeah,
But he didn't fight the hot prospect Travis Brown. He fought the Edmund Tarverdian fucked me up Travis Brown.
Yep.
So we haven't seen Kane in a competitive fight in a minute. And I'd like to think, I mean, I want him to be healthy, but I don't. He's hurt so much, man, and they put so much in their sparring at AKA.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the videos.
It's tough
and-
to watch, man, because it's like they've got some good fighters there, but each one has had like a major knee injury in the last 5 years.
Right.
Luke Rockhold, DC, and fucking
And they're going full. I mean, you got DC and Kane. I mean, they talk about it going
And Kane,
full on in the gym. I mean, I just
Well,
don't
and
agree
you
with
watch
those
it
training
on
methods. But I
fucking
mean, they're
national
successful as
television
fuck.
on
What
The
the fuck am
Ultimate
I?
Fighter.
But, right.
like
I mean,
started knocking out fucking bantamweights.
you can't
and
argue with their
shit.
success, but I'm still
Yeah.
allowed to have. We can still have opinions about it, and
No doubt.
I
Don't
don't
get me
think it's
wrong.
fucking-
Obviously, you can't go light in the gym, but there's a
No.
difference between going 100% and going 70%.
And you
know?
and there's a difference when you look at your fucking injury rates and some of the crazy training techniques that Kane has used that's on video, like the crazy shit he's done with kettlebells, some of the other shit. Not his fault. He's got a fucking guy there
He's like throwing.
telling him to do it. Hurt my back looking at those, man. I'm like, oh my god, I need to see my chiropractor.
Right? Fuck.
Anyways,
Gives
Curtis
you a
Blades. I think we both agree. Volkov is the next best fight. It's a proving test for both of them. Well,
Unless
we've got
either
Stipe
one of
DC
them
going down.
attempts to wait out for a title shot, which I don't see.
Dude, that's not a good move. With John Jones waiting in the wings, Brock Lesnar waiting in the wings.
You gotta do something. What have you done for
And
me?
who knows
lately?
what happens with DC and Stipe.
What have you done for me lately, though?
Yeah, no, that'd be
You
a
know?
stupid move to wait for a title shot in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Shit's booked for a minute,
For real.
you know. And who knows how long the build-up's going to be. No matter who wins, I think we both agreed DC is likely to retire, win or lose, after this fight.
Yeah.
So it could be
Stipe
another
drops to
6
light
months. Like, say John Jones gets cleared, Stipe wins. John says, DC retires. He doesn't want to
DC's a
fight
pussy. I'll fight him.
Gustafsson again. He wants to go back and fight a heavyweight. That's going to be
Unless-
6 months out.
Unless he'll take second best and Gustafsson lose to Rockhold and then get John Jones Rockhold. That'd be a good
Ooh, I
fight.
like that fight. Although the
for
way
the
Rockhold
new
tends to
title.
keep his chin up and
Yeah, John
do
Jones
that
will
under
fuck
pressure,
him
John
up.
Jones will light his ass
Yeah,
up.
but I would just like John Jones.
He's got skills to hang.
I'd
though.
like John Jones just to beat that whole camp. Just like beat DC and then beat Rockhold. And then when Kane finally comes back, John beats the shit out of Kane.
Wouldn't that be some sick vengeance right there?
Right. Because they all talk shit. I mean, Luke doesn't
like
as
that.
much, but Luke's just in the way at this point.
I'm not a fan of
that's
AKA.
That's a fight I gotta see. I want to see. I mean, it's no longer a super fight, but I still want to see Chris Weidman, John Jones. I think that'd still be a good fight.
I think that would be a good fight.
I don't know though, because I think Weidman's gotten like a little smaller than he used to be. He's not as like muscular. He's kind of a little more doughy.
He's injured right now too. Dana was saying
Is
last
he again?
night. Yeah,
What the fuck happened now?
yeah, he's not going to be good to go for a minute.
What? Dude, this sucks, man. There's too many injuries going around, man.
It does absolutely.
It's
It
terrible.
sucks, man.
Absolutely terrible.
Fuck. Well, you want to talk about that Covington RDA fight?
Yeah, fuck. I don't know, man. Don't get me wrong. Covington deserves all the respect in the world for being a good fighter, but he deserves no respect at all in his like shit talk.
I'm not a fan. He makes me cringe. He doesn't
He's a
make
good
me
fighter.
laugh
Don't
very
get me
often.
wrong.
But I think I think the story what we should really talk about, because opinions about his shtick or whatever, I don't think too many people like it.
You hear what he said in the post-fight press conference? He goes, no one really likes Tyron Woodley. I guess I'm probably going to have to be a babyface for the next fight. Like, what the fuck are you saying personal ass shit if you're just going to, like, flip-flop your, like WWE fucking trash talk? But then, like, he like, throws, like, shit in there that's just, like, kind of going over the line, you know? Like,
I wish he'd tone it down a little bit and quit.
I
forcing
respect
it,
his
but
fighting ability.
I'll tell you what, he impressed the shit out of me with that fight last night. I remember we were watching it.
What the fuck was RDA doing, dude?
I don't know.
Conor would fuck RDA up, dude.
Man, that's what Connor was thinking this morning or last night too.
Dude, I'm telling you, fuck this Woodley fight. The fight to make in the welterweight division right now is Darren Till and Colby Covington.
Ooh, amen to that, brother. That's what they
Because
should make right
Colby
there.
Covington is he's like bigger than most welterweights. But then you look at Darren Till and he is fucking bigger than most heavyweights, you know what I mean?
Paul, I didn't realize until he actually got into Octagon with Stephen Thompson.
Yeah,
At
he's
first
a
glance,
big motherfucker,
they look
dude.
to be similar size, but then
No.
the longer you look at him, the bigger
No.
fucking Till got to me. Like his
Yeah.
legs were just huge.
He's a fucking big boy,
thick.
dude.
Thompson was it was almost like he was shrinking the more the fight went on. Like, God damn, Till is a big motherfucker.
So the only reason I think that's such a great matchup is because I don't see Covington doing that to Till. With Till having his Muay Thai background,
I don't think he can
him
put that
being
pressure
able
on
to
him.
control the clinch, I don't think that happens to Till. And I think that turns into a striking matchup. And then what does
Ooh.
Covington really have there?
He's not on Till's level with the striking. He can try to
And Woodley's over here.
put
I
that
don't
pressure,
know, man.
but
Woodley, I think,
I mean,
tough call, but I think Woodley probably loses that fight too.
I actually think so too. Yeah.
I think Colby beats Woodley just by wearing him out.
Because Colby showed he's got a pretty
Unless-
decent chin.
He doesn't though, because no one really knows. Because RDA is a fucking lightweight. I'm sorry, he is. He's a. I don't mean this is not discrediting Colby Covington whatsoever, but RDA still punches like
He's
a
a
lightweight.
former lightweight champ. You can't.
He
You can't
still punches like a
deny it,
lightweight,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, Darren Till punches like a fucking light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like so,
And Colby's not making 155.
no fucking way.
So I mean, there was a different size difference, and I
Darren
think
Till might not even be making 170 in a
Right.
couple weeks here.
and Colby's actually a bit bigger than Woodley. Now Woodley's more muscular, but
Yeah,
Woodley's
Wood-
like 5'9". Colby's 5'11".
That's why I just don't see like I don't know.
And Colby's
I
got
don't-
that cardio. You can't deny that
I don't
cardio.
see just because all that muscle. I don't see Woodley winning that fight. He's gonna
No,
gas
if Colby
quick.
can get out of the second round,
Yep,
dude, he'll keep that pressure up and gas him out and grind out a
it's
decision.
really gonna. We're really gonna see how good Colby's chin is in that point.
Yeah.
RDA hit him with some big shots, but it seemed like he wasn't sitting down on his punches at all. He was just
No, he
light on
tagged
his
him up.
feet, And he was just like
He
trying
didn't have a
to,
lot behind,
he was
yeah.
like point fighting him, dude.
And it's hard to land flush and good
He
shots
did
when
the
you're
first
backing up half
like
the
real
fight.
significant strike was in the 5th round when he Superman
Yeah.
punched him to start the round. Or was
Well,
that
he
the
was backing up. He was. I mean, the
Yeah.
second that fucking
Dude,
bell
literally,
rang,
the bell rang and he just backed him up to the cage.
I was blown away.
I was like, what
"God
the
damn."
fuck, man?
Yeah.
I don't know, though. He had a good amount of stuff takedowns as well. I don't know what was going on in this card, but people are not crediting people stuffing takedowns anymore. It happened in the Pettis Benavidez fight. Joe Benavidez had 12 different takedowns get stuffed. Like, what the fuck? And that doesn't matter? That's still, like, that should count on the scorecards. This goes back to the judging, man. This shit's got to get better. Because there was at least 3 different fights that were won and lost off of what a judge thought happened, you know? And a couple of them, people possibly got robbed. Claudia Gadelha is lucky she got that decision.
Yeah.
Real
That's for
lucky
sure.
she got that decision. Honestly, Robert Whittaker, that was a real...
Yeah.
That was could have gone either way. Like, really close.
You can make arguments for that, absolutely.
And then obviously Pettis Benavidez, which I thought Pettis clearly won, but the
So did
judges'
I.
scorecards were all over the place. There was that fight, the Esparza fight, both had 2 judges score it 30-27 for the win. You know, because there was
I
two
know, that's
29-28s and 2 in each one, and then one was 2. Both of them had 30-27s, and neither of those fights had a 30-27 score.
Well, I don't hear anybody outside of fans and journalists and people like us calling for anything to be done about judging. I mean, the commission certainly aren't out there doing anything about it.
Yeah.
The UFC,
I don't know.
Can't do anything
Dana
about
kind of like voices his opinion on it only when it really affects the product. You know, like
if it doesn't go
Yeah.
the way that they were hoping it would go, then you're going to hear Dana's opinion about some shit.
well, and then like you'll hear Dana. It's weird because you'll hear Dana say in front of other fighters, "Yeah, bro, you got robbed." It's like, whoa, man. Yeah, like, whoa, dude. Like, just say it in front of the other fighters' face and shit, like in press conferences. So it's like, it's not that the people aren't talking about it. It's just nothing's being done. At the end,
No.
nothing's really being done, and we're gonna continue to see matchups like this that end in bullshit.
It's unfortunately the state of mixed martial arts, and there's no change on the horizon with that, so we just got to live with it.
Unfortunately.
Is what that one is, and we can hope in the future see some kind of problem that can be tackled and done, because there's too many instances where it gets fucked up.
Yeah.
So we both agree that the gas tank of Colby Covington just might
gonna
be
be too
enough to
much
beat
for Woodley.
Woodley. I mean,
Unless Woodley can out wrestle him, because Woodley is also a high level wrestler.
yeah, it's not like Woodley doesn't have a shot. He could KO. He could walk out and knock this fool
It's
out
not
in
even
20
that.
seconds.
Woodley could legitimately out wrestle him.
And he could out wrestle him early, I think, too.
100%.
But there's no denying his muscle mass takes his cardio away. Like, those muscles
Mm.
require oxygen,
Yeah, but wrestling endurance is different.
blood.
Wrestling endurance is different, like, because a lot of that's going to be muscle memory. Because, even late in the fight, Woodley's going to be able to, sprawl and just naturally do shit when shots are taken on him, because it's going to be second nature to him,
Sure.
because he's been wrestling since he's a kid. You know what I mean? And same thing with Colby. If
Colby,
it
I
gets
believe,
in the
has
deep
too,
water, same thing. Like we saw when RDA did hit Colby with big shots, right away went to the shot. Right away went to the shot. Right away went to the shot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Woodley
unfazed.
and him are, if it turns into a quote unquote wrestling match, these fools, it's gonna be really for fans, it's not gonna be interesting, but I'd love to see this turn into a wrestling match, because I really would like to see.
Well, I'm interested in that, too.
People are gonna boo and people are gonna say what they're gonna say, but honestly, this fight could turn into a wrestling match
This
because
is mixed martial arts. It's not kickboxing. It can't be all rock and sock and robots.
yeah, honestly, because Woodley is gonna be looking for the big punch, and Colby's gonna be wrestling, and it's gonna be constant either Woodley counter wrestling him, dude, or he's gonna tire himself out and try to strike with him, which I don't see him doing, just because I feel like it's second nature,
I agree, yeah. And then I think Darren Till gets the winner of that fight and beats whoever it is.
Yeah, because people to discount Darren Till's abilities, like outside of his striking. Muay Thai is more than just striking, you know, like it's clinch work, trips, stuff like that. And dude, he's got a bright fucking future, dude. That kid is something special.
Got this Cactus OG in his bong if you want to hit this. That's tasty right there. Well, also announced last night during UFC 225 was Ronda Rousey getting inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame, which is during Fight Week, which we will be at, recording some footage, broadcasting live when we can, getting some shit on our Instagram stories, I'm sure.
Well, and I'm happy for Ronda.
I am too.
I mean, it was a bumpy road on the way out, but you know you can't deny the impact.
Dude, her
she's had
exit
on the
doesn't
sport.
invalidate her career or her accomplishments in any way.
Exactly.
I mean, I saw every one of Ronda's fights.
Yeah,
She was amazing.
for sure.
You know, she had that aura about her for quite a while. She broke through a lot of shit for women. I mean, it's true when they say if there wasn't a Ronda Rousey, we wouldn't have women's MMA right now.
Honestly,
You know,
well,
she-
at least in the UFC.
In the UFC, I don't mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Thank you. I don't mean, there has always been women's MMA here for several years now, but not in the UFC. Dana was so against it. We all know the story.
Yeah,
You know, Ronda brought that around. We're going to hear more about that as this gets closer. But
it's
I think we'll be there at the
strange,
Hall of Fame.
because you know what's strange is how soon they've done this, because
yeah,
her exit almost was like sour with the promotion.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
It was almost like they set her up. She felt like
They fed her to a couple killers.
yeah. I feel like
With
that's
no
how she
chance to
felt in
rebound.
the end, that they like kind of set her up by the way her body language was, and like how she wouldn't talk to people after the fights. And
Yeah,
stuff
maybe
like
not so much
that.
Holly, but they fed her to Nunes. She should have had a rebound fight. Like that was
Oh yeah, the Nunes one was rough.
that was
man.
rough. You know,
Well, let's look at it this way. Holly, just go backwards and think about it. Holly then loses to Misha. Misha, who couldn't even touch Ronda, gets fucking
Mhm.
bombs dropped on her by Nunes. And then you're going to give Ronda that chick? Dude.
that was brutal. Especially Ronda coming off being so, I mean, let's just face it,
Drop
traumatized.
bombs.
man.
And Ronda is like... It's weird, because Ronda and Misha were always like... they were on the same level, but it always seemed like Ronda could catch her. You know what I mean?
Mhm, always.
Ronda was always good at those catching girls in those arm bars. Same thing with Kat Zingano. I think if her and Kat Zingano, I think that would have been a good like in between fight for her, just because Kat Zingano is kind of in the same like level as her now. That like those two were like pioneers of that women's division.
I like Cat.
Yeah, and now they've kind of like not that Kat's like done, but she's having a hard time keeping up with the young guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she went through a lot of hard times, and then
Yeah,
it's
that
tough to,
freaking traumatic brain
you
injury.
know,
Dude.
yeah, it's tough to come back.
Nunes
from
gave
lot
her a
of that
traumatic
stuff.
brain injury.
Yeah,
Honestly, we don't know, but Ronda possibly could have got one from Nunes also,
absolutely.
Because
Nunes hits
when-
like a truck.
or honestly from Holly, because if you watch how Ronda reacted from getting hit after she fought Holly, it was weird. Because as soon as she got touched by Nunes, she was like, you know, she was freaking out again. Like she was like, boom.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was rough, dude. Her fucking hands were just down. I was like, dude, put your fucking hands up, and she's just eating shots.
Edmund Tarverdian is not a good coach.
It was a
If
bad
she
way
would have
for
left
her
that
to-
camp,
Yeah.
would have been so much better, man. But anyways, let's not dwell on her failures here because
She's
this
a
is Hall
loyal.
of Fame.
She's got a very loyal like upbringing. Though,
Oh, she's a very
that,
loyal
like,
woman. You can't deny
yeah.
that. She's very
Where,
loyal
like,
to her camp. You gotta I
Yeah,
respect that.
you
but-
gotta respect that
But
she
with the
didn't
reality,
leave her
too.
camp. Yeah, because 100%.
I mean, there's loyalty and then there's reality,
100%, yeah.
and it's not disrespectful to leave
And she
somebody's
never
camp.
had
Everybody
to
has
leave her.
levels.
She didn't have to leave her camp. She could have kept the same camp but added to it.
Yes, she could have just gone somewhere else. She could have added another level to something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it invalidates the first level. Like,
Yeah, I just feel like
whatever.
it's
She
tough
wasn't
for
down
her.
with that.
Yeah.
You know, but hey, let's not dwell. This is a positive thing. She's getting in the Hall of Fame. You and I are actually
Yeah.
going to be there at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's during
Yeah.
Fight Week. We're going to be there, filming some stuff here for this podcast, and hopefully talking to some other fighters about Ronda and what they think about that as well.
Yeah.
We got some other cool things coming up outside of, I think that about wraps up 225 and the
Yeah.
announcements
Oh,
that we
wait.
had out of 225. Huh?
Not necessarily.
What's that?
Yoel Romero versus Robert Whitaker.
How did I forget that? Smoking too much weed. Well, listen, I think that's
Dude,
a good
that was
sign
a
that
fucking
I should
great
load up
fight,
another bowl.
That was a top-notch fucking
Dude, yeah.
scrap, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my god, man.
What did you think about the decision? Do you feel it was a robbery?
I don't know
are
if
you
it's a
happy with it
robbery
either
because
way?
it was a very close fight, but I had Yoel winning because I had Yoel having a 10-8 round, and I believe it was the third and the fifth.
I can't argue with that either, man. I'm not mad at Whitaker
I'm not
winning.
mad that Whitaker won, but because Yoel missed weight, and if he would have won, it kind of would have thrown the whole division in limbo because your champ would have got beat by someone in the fucking division, but didn't give his belt up. It's like, I don't know. That's such a UFC situation to be in.
Oh, that's the new UFC. That sums it
you
up
know what
right
I mean?
there.
That's such a UFC situation.
Practically
to be in, dude.
expected that to happen just because.
It's like, God,
it's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
But
It'd be kind of the same way the lightweight division is right now.
well, you know what? Just touching on that real quick with the weird things that have happened. You realize that right now, because of Yoel missing weight and them in no title, now the last time that the middleweight belt was defended, it was by two basically retired fighters. It was Bisping versus GSP. Bisping's gone. GSP's he's definitely not coming back to middleweight. So because he's retired from middleweight. That's a long time to go without a title defense. Now Whitaker was out for a long time, and now we've got this.
I don't know, because in
It's
the
just-
public eye, that
it's
was
an interesting-
that was definitely a title defense.
It's an interesting scenario, is my
Because-
point. It's another weird thing attached
100%,
to it all of this.
yeah, but
Symptomatic of the new UFC,
yeah.
right there.
Well, and if Yoel won last night, I think he'd be the people's champ. Everyone would be like, all right, he's the champ now. He wouldn't get a belt.
We love you, bro. That's what we'd be hearing.
Honestly, I can't really deny him. There could be a third fight.
I'd rather see him go up to light.
I'd rather
heavyweight.
see him go to light heavyweight as well, but you cannot deny that was a very, very interesting close fight that could have been judged either way. And honestly, there's argument for why he deserves a third fight.
I'll tell you what. I'll agree with the third fight as long as it's not the next fight.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not saying
We can't
it's
have
going
that
to be
be
the
booked
next.
next. Like you want to do another fight.
Let's say Chris Weidman comes back. Chris Weidman, Yoel 2. Chris Weidman loses again.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you
I'm
give
down a
Yoel-
third fight as
yeah.
long as they don't book it again for the
Or
middleweight
let's do
title
Yoel
next.
Kevin Gastelum and see who's the number one contender. Really
know
give
if Gastelum
Gastelum
wants
a
none
fuck.
of
He doesn't
that.
want that shit.
You're talking about a guy that was at welterweight. Talking about a guy who should be at light heavyweight.
Yeah, dude, he'll get fucking.
Of course, you can say that about
That'll
Weidman
make
too,
him
and
put
look
the
what
plate
happened.
down, dude. Straight up.
Look at what Weidman happened. Well, I mean, what happened with Weidman?
Oh yeah,
Because Weidman could be at 205 as well, and it was like
dude, Yoel fucking.
you could see that size difference there.
Dude, Yoel hit Weidman with a fucking knee of death,
Yeah,
dude.
he did.
He
That
fucking
fight could have been
cracked his
over right
skull,
there
dude.
too.
Dude, it was weird. It was like one of those like nasty injuries in like fighting too, where like Yoel just hit him with that knee. Nothing was wrong, similar to what happened last night with Overeem. Yoel like didn't really batter him up very bad during the fight, but then that knee just cracked his face open, dude. He was
Sure
like
did.
bleeding everywhere. I don't think he even got up for the announcement after, did he?
He did at the end, yeah.
Did he?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
But it was
It was very bad, dude. That's one of the most like brutal knockouts of Yoel's career right there, dude. That's like probably his career highlight next to Rockhold.
absolutely.
Dude, Yoel knocked out knocked out two former champions, and then like it's just so strange because who else are you gonna give the title to now with Yoel fighting that close to Whitaker and Yoel's beat everyone else other than Gastelum?
I don't even know at this
You know what I
point.
mean?
They have
He's
do
gotta
something
go to
sort that
205
out,
at
though.
this point, right?
right? He's got to. That was a great fight, though. Either
Oh,
way,
dude,
I
it
think
was
either way
great.
the decision goes, we're both kind of happy
I
with
think
it.
that could be fight of the year.
And that was a hell of a fight, yeah.
That could be fight of the year for sure.
It's a contender for fight of the year. Absolutely.
Once again, though, Robert Whitaker always somehow, some way gets injured during the fight against Yoel. And that kind of goes back to why he's not that known. You know what I mean? He's had a couple big fights that he had to back out of. And, like, instead of being, Yoel's highlight of him knocking Rockhold out. It could have been Robert Whitaker's highlight of him knocking Rockhold out, and everybody knows his name now because people actually know who Luke Rockhold is. You know what I mean? Not saying that people don't know who Yoel Romero is, but there's a lot more people across more than just MMA that follow Luke Rockhold because he's like got a strong like social following and
he's a mini celebrity. He was on that some dating show on cable.
Right.
Who Wants to Date a Millionaire?
Right.
He's got some modeling gig or something he was working on.
He's got friends in the business, so if he were to win the championship again, I feel like he'd get supreme promotion.
Yeah, there's been rumors of Luke Rockhold with some major news coming out. A lot of people are speculating it's in regard to modeling or some shit. But
what is he gonna do? Retire and become a model?
No, I doubt he's retiring.
Dude, he better because fucking.
I don't know how you can be a model in a fight and get your face
gonna
fucked
fuck
up.
his face up.
Could be. I don't know, Rockhold. That'll be an interesting fight. He better fucking do something quick.
What happened to him? Why did they cancel the fight?
He hurt his knee again. I believe his...
Again, dude? Jeez. That team is, like, full of knee injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Or any lower limb. Dan Cormier in his leg and freaking... Damn, dude. Kane can't fucking... Kane should just be in a back brace till his next fight. It's permanently. And then he'll fight. He'll just come to the ring, unhook his back brace. Let's go, motherfuckers.
I can see that, and then I have to take him out on a stretcher afterwards. This poor guy. Back problems are no joke, man.
Dude, for real.
But on some of that...
Did you see Cade come in and fucking...
That'd be pretty funny. That'd be hilarious right there.
Straight body cage, dude. For his back, dude just comes out, they cut it off.
I'm going to fire up this other joint here.
Hell yeah, dude.
This is a Venom OG, 25% THC hybrid. Should be good. It's a nice full ground joint.
I like the hybrids, dog.
Just a big, decent size. Well, no, that pretty much wraps up 225, except we don't know what's next with that title. What the fuck they do next with the title with... We're going to have Whitaker out for a minute with a broken hand. I don't think it matters
because they don't have a clear contender yet.
No. So they'll give Whitaker's hand a chance to heal up.
Yeah. Well, dude, we already... And it's like, he broke his hand. It's a 3-week recovery. He's a fighter. He'll be back in 2 weeks. A week. He'll be training again in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it looked like his thumb too. It didn't look like he doesn't like he fractured his.
No, it
the
just
middle
like,
of his.
It looked like
one
he
of his.
chipped
Just
the
look
bone.
It's his thumb.
Yeah.
So, that's going on.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not good because it's never good when someone who's a champion's hurt, but it gives time for the division to play out one way or another. You know.
Yeah, we're not saying it's good that he's injured, but it's good that we're going to have a second here to recover. We're going to have some time to see what happens next in the division.
Yeah.
So now that pretty much wraps up UFC 225, which we have some news coming up this week in, I think it's 5 days. Conor and his buddy are going to be appearing in court in New York City to face 3
the future of the
misdemeanor
UFC is
counts
on the line.
and 1 felony count.
Dude.
I think this is very likely. I mean, my opinion is it's going to be treated like any other celebrity.
Think so?
It's not going to be treated like some gang member did some shit.
Dude, what if they put him in the fucking prison, dude? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. That shit's never going to happen.
No, he's going to get like 90 days community service. Some shit like
he's going to pay a fine. He's going to have to do some community service, some shit for the state of New York, make a commercial, pay a fine, do some other crap.
And then he's going to be like, fuck that, and then never come back.
No, he won't do that.
I only fight in Ireland now. Dude.
I wouldn't be surprised.
What if he just went back to Cage Warriors and just like beat every Cage Warriors?
Dude, you know what I'm worried about, Paul, honestly?
What?
I'm worried that Conor McGregor has maybe 1 fight in the UFC left in him before he's like out.
Yeah, me too. I'm afraid
like,
that is.
And I'm worried about that as a fan because I
too.
want to see excellence in the octagon. And Conor McGregor is a fucking spectacle inside and outside. There's nothing like a McGregor fight week. We've experienced them here in Vegas,
it's
been to all the
badass.
weigh-ins, been right there in the middle of the Irish crowds, jumping around. I was in the middle of the crowd with that famous MGM scene
Yeah, me
after
too.
the fights when everybody's just trapped there on the elevators and everybody's screaming and
Yep.
yelling and singing the Irish
Smells
songs.
like
And
a
there's
fucking
beer
brewery.
2 inches floor deep on the floor. It was awesome, man. There's
It is pretty
nothing
badass.
like that in sports. You
They
can
all
see it
have
in the
just,
YouTube
like, making up
videos.
songs
but-
off the dome. Dude.
It's awesome, man. And I miss it. I miss Connor. And I don't want to just have that happen one more time
Yeah,
and then be
he's
it.
definitely electrifying. He's transcended like sports in Ireland. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's
he's
a fucking
brought,
star.
He's brought so many fighters with him too. You know what I mean? It's not like he's just been like, oh, he was this guy who was from there. No, he's got like that whole gym, his coach, everyone has come along with him and like really benefited from like
Hell
this.
yeah, they
this
pick up
story,
on that
you know?
shine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just
And
there
not to
last
say
night.
that they
at
don't
his boys'
deserve
fight.
it, because John Kavanaugh's a great coach, but he got a lot of his credibility from what he's been doing with Connor, and then
Right.
when he goes, well, you think Connor's good, you should look at my other guy, and his next guy gets in the UFC. Like, honestly, Patty was pretty good until he had that career-ending injury.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He had a pretty solid record. He was like 3-1 or something like
Mhm. No, John Kavanaugh's legit. It's a legit gym.
that. Artem sucks.
I like Artem.
He sucks though.
I like Artem. He gave Cub a good fight. I'm not saying he's world class. He probably doesn't belong in the UFC. But I admire him because after he got beat by Cub
Dude, he should
and
fight-
Andre
he should
Fili, he
fight
said
Mike
he shouldn't
Jackson
be in
next.
there. There's somebody he could whoop.
Artem
should
versus
put him in
Mike
there.
Jackson. Yeah, but
Mike Jackson's
you're telling
bigger,
me,
Artem
You're telling me
whooped
that
ass.
Artem deserved to be in that octagon with Cub Swanson that night?
I would say based on his performance, he did.
I don't think so. He got shut out, dude.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
It was.
it
serious
wasn't
shut
like
out.
he didn't look like he belonged. He looked like he belonged. He landed
Dude,
shots. He was
lost
competitive.
by a unanimous
I'm just
decision.
saying, I'm saying
all
Artem
5
Lobov
rounds.
is a fucking world beater, and yeah, he's in the UFC because of Connor, but I didn't hate on it. I like the dude.
No, I don't hate on him. I'm just saying that there's.
I guess that's what it is. As a fan, my personal liking of him, like I like
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
overrides, and I'm like, good for
I
him.
just feel like he's gotten where he's gotten because he's Connor's training partner. Is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's more the Fertitas like back then, because like they would do that with a lot of fighters. You know, that's kind of how the UFC started. You know, it'd be like, oh, this you've seen that guy from Ken Shamrock's gym. You know, he's crazy good. and
Yeah,
then-
to
and
bring
then they
in
bring him
people's
in.
friends, exactly.
Yep.
And I've heard this argument. I've heard people who hate on Artem say, "Oh, well, he's taking somebody a more deserving fighter's roster spot." Get the fuck out of here with that shit. There's 538 fighters in the UFC.
It's
Stop.
It's not that way
There's
when
plenty
he
of
still
spots.
when he still wins fights because
Right.
he has won a couple fights.
And it's not like the UFC is limited to the top 50 fucking fighters. Come on, 500. Do you know how many events they're putting on? They're
Yeah.
always having to call somebody up. Like,
They.
he's not taking anybody's roster
I'll
spot.
tell you what, it's a whole lot easier than it used to be to get to the UFC.
I would have liked to. Yeah, oh yeah, those days of the UFC being the best of the best only are long gone. I would have liked to see Artem versus Alex Caceres.
But at
I
the
like
same
that fight.
time, it's not though. I hate to say that because you know, like I'm not saying it's easy to get to the UFC because it's not. What I'm saying is there's a whole lot more stuff, ways you can promote yourself nowadays than you could before. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, now you can put together your knockout video on YouTube and get 1 million likes. Kind of how Connor did. Connor was on social media and was like, everyone's like, dude, you got.
Dude, that's how I
this
knew
guy.
Connor. Yeah, I knew
You know
Connor
what I
before
mean?
the UFC, seeing his YouTube videos on from Cage
Yeah.
Warriors, man.
Kimbo Slice. Like, you know what I mean?
Like I watched the shit where Dana White went over
Kimbo
to fucking
Slice,
Ireland.
fucking,
And they were like, check out Conor McGregor.
Who was it? Jorge Masvidal, same thing.
Yeah, yeah, yep, absolutely. It's a different era, but yeah, overall, the UFC is an easier organization to get into now than it was before, especially with
Well,
all
it's
these
not
events they
easier to
have
get
to
into.
fill.
It's easier to market yourself to get a chance for them to see you.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Absolutely. I'm liking this. This is good. I
Yes.
haven't smoked this Venom OG before. This is pretty tasty, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't hate on that at all. Well, Connor's court date is coming up, so we're going to have an answer to a lot of questions here over the next 5 days as to when and if he's going to fight again and who. And he can say what he wants
and
about
this is kind of
multiple
one of those
fights.
situations where like anything can happen, and no one really knows the exact details of what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
For them to really like, it's hard to make a judgment on what's going to happen with him, because we can sit here and be like, "Oh, it was no big deal. They arrested him. They let out on bail real quick. This, that, and the other." But no one really knows what exactly he was charged with, what's going on, and like
We
how
know what
many
he's charged
lawsuits
with,
he
but
has outside of what's going on. You know, Chiesa already said he's suing him. I'm pretty sure Borg's probably going to sue him.
I think we would have heard, because a lot of that's public information when you file a lawsuit.
I'm pretty sure Borg.
Carolina said she's not going to.
Carolina said she's not. She said she's seen much worse.
But your point being, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
That we don't know.
And
that
there's
could,
definitely...
that could force the hand either way, you know what I mean?
Connor's lawyer and the district attorney of New York
no
are
one
definitely
knows-
speaking.
And no one knows who the judge like really is outside of like what's going on. So like, let's say that he's like, you know what, this is gonna be, you're gonna be my example for everyone else, that we're not gonna tolerate fucking celebrities coming up in our city and doing shit like this and getting away with it. And he tries to throw the hammer down, you know?
It's going to be up to the DA on the charges.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, we'll see. We're going to see. We're going to have the answers here right around the corner. And then let's hope for the best. That he just pays whatever they say he needs to pay. Fixes the bus.
I hope so, but I could also
Pays
see
some fighter salaries.
I could also see them attempting to make an example out of his homie instead of him. You know what I mean?
His homie won last night. Connor was there.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
I could see them trying to do that to him just because he's, like, not as big of the person Conor McGregor is. Kind of using him as a scapegoat, you know?
It's going to be interesting what happens next. Well,
But I don't think Conor's using him as a scapegoat. I'm saying, like,
No.
the DA possibly.
I don't know. I mean, what could happen is there could be a deal on the board and Connor could accept it. Or if he doesn't like the deal, he can proceed forward and hopefully get a better one with either a judge or a jury.
Go to trial,
If they go to trial, he can be either a judge or a jury. Probably a terrible idea because
there doesn't need to be evidence. Everything's right there.
you should just pay your shit. He
Pay
did
your
something
shit.
wrong.
Pay your shit and fight Khabib in November.
That'd be great. Right here in Vegas so we can be on the scene.
Dude, that's what I'm hoping.
Actually, Dana already said they're going to do the fight in Vegas. He said Khabib, Connor is a fight that you do in Las Vegas.
Fuck yeah. Dude.
So we'll be there. We'll be at the weigh-ins. We'll hopefully be... Those tickets get crazy expensive, but hopefully we'll be at the fight. But we'll be involved in that promotion and in that fight week. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'll be all
You know,
over that.
even the weigh-ins on those type of major events are just electrifying. So
Yeah.
that shit will be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that. Let's just hope for the best when it comes to this court date. You know, Connor pays some fines. I think he does owe something to those fighters.
No
And,
doubt. What he
let's
did was
move on.
wrong, but
Yeah. You know, Carolina doesn't want anything because she wasn't hurt,
Yeah.
so she's fine. He owes something to those other guys. He owes something to Borg. He owes something to Chiesa.
yeah, for sure.
Pay Rose
He'll
really
end up
pain and
giving
suffering
him
money.
something. Yeah.
He should. He's supposed to right. He's paid.
Yeah.
We saw him number 4 on fucking Forbes list. That's no joke.
Yeah.
Number 4 on the Forbes list. Think about if he would have fought RDA. He mentioned that too.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I think he would have whooped RDA based on how RDA fought last night.
Ooh, me too. Me too. He can't handle the pressure of Colby Covington. Connor
Conor would just walk him down.
walk him down and light him up along the way. Yeah, dude.
Because Colby Covington was lighting him up on the feet.
Right.
Colby
And Colby's
Covington's a
striking
wrestler.
has gotten better.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Colby
But he
Covington
no
can
goddamn
throw,
Conor McGregor.
but yeah, he's not Conor,
Conor
and
McGregor's
he's
a
a wrestler.
specialist.
Yeah, I don't know. Colby probably would beat Conor based off just taking him down a bunch.
He might be able to do that, but
I don't know, but just like
RDA,
I
I
said,
think,
how
would've got
it
slept.
would be with Till. I feel like Colby would try to walk him down Conor, and Conor would just walk right into him and just hit him with strikes, and he'd possibly catch him going in. I think Darren Till would do the same thing. Darren Till would try to catch him going in.
yeah, I think
He's
you're
a high
right.
level.
There, yeah, absolutely, agree 100%. Let's hope for the best. You know, we got John Jones. You know, kind of. It doesn't really tie in exactly with Conor, but he's probably the second biggest star that's in the UFC right now. Certainly the second biggest that's not
Well,
active.
they're both in some trouble, I'll tell you that.
And he was released a statement here the past couple of days saying that he thinks that possibly decisions will come sooner rather than later, which is pretty vague. But
Yeah, super vague answer, but
faintly positive. It's vaguely positive, which is better than vaguely
Yeah,
negative.
it's weird that like it's just kind of one of those decisions that they don't even know what goes on. It's just like they'll like get something in the mail like, hey,
Well,
you're
let's
suspended.
Let's hope it's taking so long because of the constant back and forth they have on reaching an agreement that gets him fighting
soon.
soon.
I think what's gonna end up happening, maybe it ends up being a year suspension, which gets him where? This
When
August.
did this go down? It was
Last August, right?
last August. So yeah,
So this August, he'd be
yeah,
able
because
to
it
fight.
would be retroactive. So
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Or they give him a year and a half and he comes back in November or something like that.
right,
Or December.
because that's about a fight camp, anyways.
Yep.
You know, so
Well,
I'm down with that as well.
I don't know, it's just tough. I think that possibly he gets it before, or maybe he's already got it and their UFC is just waiting to like announce it till fight week. You know,
Let's hope so.
because they're employed.
Let's hope
by
we get the big
UFC.
announcement here during fight week. They tend to do that. We could be
Yeah.
getting major news. You know.
Of course, that's it. They always have their big announcement right either before fight week or during fight week.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fight Week is awesome, man. We've both been there before. It's a
Yeah,
really
it's
cool
pretty
event. There's
badass.
fighters come in from all over the place. It's not just for fans. Fighters fly in. They tend to be here for all the events. There's multiple UFC events. We're going to the Tough event that Friday night
Yep.
before the Stipe
Brad
DC
Tavares,
fight.
Israel Adesanya.
Yes,
Dude,
it's gonna be some exciting stuff right there.
what if he could make 170? Dude, that would be.
That would be something,
fucking-
wouldn't it?
I just want to see him and Till. Honestly, that's just what I want to see.
Mm.
I can see Till could fight
Till
185.
could move up to 85, though. Yeah.
Dude, him and Israel Adesanya would be a tense fight.
Did you watch that weight cut video with Darren Till?
No.
Oh my god, man, it was so terrible. Like I was no longer as mad. Like they had videotaped him going through the worst weight cut I've ever seen, up to the point where, dude, he went blind. He went blind during the weight cut. Like
Can't
he's
even see that weight go
on
up.
he's on the treadmill, and this motherfucker is like, I can't see anymore. He lost his vision due to being so dehydrated, and
What
that's when they
happened,
gave
though,
up on it.
Like he said, he had like family problems that he had to tend.
His girlfriend is pregnant and had
Oh.
an emergency. Something happened where she
Oh,
wound up
shit.
going directly to the hospital via like an ambulance, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So, that's some serious shit. I know I was talking all this shit earlier about weight cuts, but that's legit. And when I saw that, that was really painful to watch, man. Like, they don't do a lot of narration here. About every 30 seconds on this video you got playing right there, since you can't see on TV or here on the screen, he's watching that. You can check it out on YouTube as well, folks. Just Google Darren Till weight cut. It'll come up, but it shows him going through some extreme measures and then eventually losing his eyesight at the end. And it's a brutal thing to watch. It makes me sad. These guys,
Dude, they're putting blankets on him.
like, he can't be at full strength 24 hours later fighting Wonderboy Thompson after doing this. I don't give a fuck what kind of athlete you are. It's impossible. Like, dude, he's like crying here. Like when he's throwing these punches right here, he's hitting pads right here in a severely fucked up state. Like, this dude can barely stand. But you can Google
Look
this,
at his
folks, and
face.
see it. It's
Look at his face. He's like sunk in.
It reminded me a bit of Connor.
Dude, Connor making 45.
45 was so scary. I mean, I
Terrible
seen him
weight.
live, from like 20 feet away. He looked like a skeleton.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. But he was still there mentally. He looked a little crazy, but yeah, that was him now he comes off so he's walking, loses his eyesight, and they haul him off over here, and he can't move, he can't see. His whole team's hovered around him now as he's laying on a mat. And like, he's saying he wants to go on, but his team is telling you can't see.
I don't think you can run. Jesus.
And he wants to go run some more despite the fact that he's blind, and eventually his team says no because the man lost his vision due to dehydration.
Damn.
That's what these fighters are going
Dude, that was a
through.
great fight, though, still. He still fucking won that shit.
Yeah, and then this guy comes out and performs like that. Imagine him. He might actually be better at 205
Yeah.
because he's not doing that 24 hours prior.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
185 though. I don't know about
It's
it.
brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
You know, I see that. I feel like these guys' pay should be tripled. I mean, people make the argument, they shouldn't do that. They're gonna do that. It doesn't matter. You add another weight class, they're still gonna do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, it is what it is.
Because it will get rid of the tweeners though, and it will get rid of the option to cut that much.
I heard this argument on Facebook the other day where people were saying, well, we should just do same day weigh-ins, but I think that's just a casual fan's argument. A casual fan, if you listen to this, let's explain to you why
Same day weigh-ins?
Same day weigh-ins, because they're like, oh, they do that in college wrestling. Well, college wrestling has monitored hydration throughout the year.
No.
They do all kinds of stuff these days. Well,
I'm telling you right now.
Same day weigh-ins, somebody's going to die.
From experience, nobody really takes those tests. Like, yes, you take
you're
those
going
tests.
to know that more than me. They say they have monitored hydration.
No, it's not monitored. No.
Well,
I'm not even going to go there just because that's like.
Well, for the sake of this argument here, it's not a comparative thing to an MMA fighter who's taking shots to his brain.
I'll tell you
in a
what,
severely
though,
dehydrated state.
I'll tell you what, I've seen some people that have been really, really, really sucked down and have to do same day weigh-ins, and then they just wrestle like shit.
Well, yeah.
Like shit. Like, honestly, it's terrible.
And
it's terrible
proven
to watch.
Your risk of concussion goes up dramatically when you're dehydrated.
Going into regionals my junior year, one of our teammates, he was cutting so much weight, his fucking skin was green, dude. He fucking went to the hospital. We were like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
We just watched Darren Till go blind. Yoel Romero was getting carried off the other day because he can't fucking walk cutting weight.
It's strange, though, because Yoel's been doing it for so long, and you'd think that
yeah, but he's
he'd
40
have it
fucking one now.
Yeah, but you'd think he'd have it under control at this.
I agree.
He's 41, but more than half of his life he's been wrestling. He's been wrestling probably the last 30 years.
He's been wrestling since he was 8, so yeah, more than 30 years now.
Yeah. You'd have to think that he had some kind of ritual that would get him to get the weight off.
Well, let's circle back around to the point here. Is you can't have same-day weigh-ins in mixed martial arts.
No.
Someone is going to die.
No.
So that's not even on the 24 hours to 36 hours
it
makes
sucks,
a massive difference.
I even think that about wrestling, honestly.
Yeah, they shouldn't do it in wrestling either. Like, you can't. This is a safety matter.
Yeah, they shouldn't do it in wrestling.
And you can't. You
Although
just can't do it.
It would
It's not,
suck. It sucks when you. I don't know, because both these sports are such like headstrong. They're such like headstrong like ideals like going around all these sports. Like everyone's been doing all this shit for so long a certain way that if you switch it either in a good way or a bad way, you're gonna get arguments on both sides because some people love certain aspects of the sport and some people don't. Some people go, man, what the fuck? I don't want to do the afternoon weigh-ins.
Right.
I'm always on weight when I go to bed the night before. But
that's
then
the big
you
story
also
today
have,
and now. Yeah,
but then you also have the guys
early morning weigh-in.
who go, what the fuck, man? I usually cut my last pound and a half, like Kevin Lee. I usually cut my last pound and a half in the 5 hours you have before you weigh in the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they used to weigh in at, 3 in the afternoon or
4 in
something
the
like
afternoon, our
that?
time.
So, yeah, a lot of people are like, hey, man, I used to cut the rest of my weight in the middle of the day.
Right.
And it's like...
Now they're doing that overnight instead of sleeping.
Exactly.
And yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
Well, Dana said it's done. He says they're going back to 4 p.m. period. He said that last night in the press conference that's it. That's the way it is. Period.
I mean,
now, they don't have ultimate control over that. A lot of commissions do that, so I don't know how much power or pressure they can.
New York Commission?
It was started by the California Commission and then quickly adopted by everybody. But the UFC gave it the big thumbs up when California did it.
Yeah.
And now the UFC is going to give it the big thumbs down, but they can't force it on the commission.
I was going to say, what are they going to do if the commission denies that?
They can't do anything. They can only pressure. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Dana's saying one thing, but it's not.
When they're the promotion they are, you're the standard of everything, and the commissions are going to follow, honestly.
Probably, but they don't.
You know what I mean?
You would think the commissions would all adopt the unified rules, too, but look.
Yeah, you got half on...
I mean, Jesus.
Well, last night, you have a
these idiots
commission
in New York.
Well, not even that. Last night you have a commission that did adopt the rules, and they didn't
follow them.
score correctly as the
10-8
rules
rounds.
say, you know?
Yeah,
There's
you're
two
right.
obvious 10-8 rounds by the new rules.
In the Romero Whitaker
Yeah.
fight, folks listening.
Yeah.
Romero's 2 big rounds by the new unified rules would have had to be scored 10-8 rounds due to multiple knockdowns. Yeah, so it's a mess. But
It's-
the weigh-ins are the big story now, with Dana saying that yet another fighter missing weight, whether you want to give you all an excuse or not. It's just another fighter missing weight. Dana saying it's going to be 4 p.m. He doesn't really have the power to do
I
that.
don't know, man, because then think about it. Just because he has 4 more hours, he's still going to be dying like that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Just go to
Same
205.
thing,
Fight.
until he's still going to be dying like that for the next 4 hours. You can't do that.
I agree.
It's not a time thing. It's a weight class thing. There needs to be more varied weight classes. Should be every 10 pounds. It's not that serious. Not boxing level, but I'm talking like in between right now. Like I think there should be a 165 and then like
75, 85.
nah, I think there should be
I think
between
that's too many.
70. I don't know, dude. It's hard to tell because there has to be at least a 65, and there has to be something after 205, like in between heavyweights. Because now you're getting a lot of guys like the other night, dude. That one dude just laid on him because he's fat as fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro.
I don't know. I think that's
There's
part of the puzzle to
tweeners-
being
there's
heavyweight
tweeners
is you
all-
got to be bigger like that.
There's tweeners all over MMA that deserve to have like weight classes, honestly.
Me, I don't want to see it. Not in the UFC. I think if they experiment in some other like Bellator, some lower leagues, Legacy, if these guys start adding weight classes and you start building up people and seeing it work on lower levels, then the UFC wants to adopt something like that. Maybe I'd be more open to it, but I don't want to see the UFC just suddenly add another weight class because I think you're going to have guys that still cut from the weight class above, skip one, and go down to the one below because that's exactly what they're doing now. So why if there's a weight class in the middle, do that if they can still get down that low? You know, if they stick another division in for Darren Till, you know, another weight class for Darren Till, he could still make that cut down to 170. So why, you know, because they think they're getting an advantage, right? On with the bigger guy, which he is. But you're also the fucking diminished guy. You think they would just realize that? If they all would just realize that they're diminished terribly, we'd solve this fucking problem too. Yeah. Don't you agree? Like if they all just said, well, maybe I shouldn't cut fucking 32 pounds we fight week.
Well, it's hard to say coming from like someone who cut weight. Like, dude, I've seen people cut so much weight in a certain amount of time, dude. Like,
I mean, I come from the boxing world. There's a million weight classes, so I didn't cut much weight. The most weight I ever cut in my life was like 9 pounds because I'm fighting. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I fought at
I've
welterweight.
seen my brother cut
you know.
like 17 pounds in one day.
There was weight classes all around me.
I've
you
seen
know,
my
but
brother like
especially in
literally,
amateurs
like,
where I was
going
at.
pale, cutting like 17 pounds, making.
I'm
weight.
sure. Yeah. I mean,
Like-
we see it
I've had friends
wrestling all
I've
over the
seen-
place. I'm pretty sure people have died in wrestling,
I've seen
right?
a ton.
So-
I don't know about a ton, but there's been cases.
More than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's an
I've
issue.
seen
I don't know
people
what the
cut-
answer
A
is.
lot of people cut 10 pounds in a day, and it's like, sometimes it's like, fuck, man. It's like, and like, I don't know.
It's not a good plan. I don't think. I don't think you should ever cut more than 5 or 6 pounds. But
Sometimes
whatever. What the fuck do I know?
Dude, it's hard to say when you're in the heat of battle that it's not necessary. Is what
Especially
I'm
when it's
saying.
your livelihood and you're getting paid big bucks and every advantage counts.
Well, in the same breath, think about it like, if you're a kid who's trying to go to college and wrestle,
no,
you're you're bigger, but if you go down a weight class, you're gonna be stronger, just as technical, and just as fast as those kids in the lower weight class. Why would you not bust your ass, be good in another weight class, and get all the eyes on you?
Dude, that's what I would agree.
You know, it's a tough argument. In outside looking in, yes, cutting weight is a terrible idea. But when you're in the heat of battle, like cutting weight is something it's just something that you do.
Because I see both sides too. I don't know what the answer is.
There
it's a
is
predicament.
That's the problem. Is it's not unless you make more weight classes, it's not going to be solved because people are going to constantly look for that next spot to be great. And if there's more spots to be great, then less people are going to be cutting weight to get to those, like,
Mm-hmm.
like you're going to see a guy like, okay, let's put it this way. In welterweight, you'll never see Jorge Masvidal win the championship. But if Jorge Masvidal fought at 165, who's to say that he couldn't beat Kevin Lee or someone like
We'll
that?
say he couldn't win it at
Or-
155.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you see what he looks like when he fights at 155?
He's a pretty
He's
small
killing
guy.
himself, dude. He kills himself when he went down to 55. It's the
You don't think he'd make that same cut if there was a 165? You don't think there'd be some guy from like 185 that decides I'm going to cut down to 165 because then I'll be the bigger guy there? So Masvidal's fighting some guy now who's doing the same thing he was doing.
not necessarily because 85 is such a far drop.
I'm just using it as an example. I'm
No,
just,
I
I'm
see
just
what you're
saying,
saying.
you know what I mean? I think you're going to have the same
I see
problem where you have these guys making these extreme cuts to get the advantage. You're going to have some fighters that are helped, like Kevin Lee could use it too. Kevin Lee's a guy that could use a 165
Yeah, but there's
class,
just
right?
that's the thing.
But-
There's just as many people that are just naturally that size compared to the people that are naturally going to do it anyways. That's the problem. Which honestly though, why not? Because then that creates another name, that creates another division, and all those divisions have enough guys that are like that will A, cut the weight, or B, are at the weight that they're going to create. It's going to create a whole nother division of guys that maybe weren't ever going to fight each other because they were at two different weight classes, but now it creates like fights that people never thought they'd see, and then they end up being great fights.
You're just going to be sucking from other divisions then, right? Because there's no...
Yeah, but well then look at divisions like welterweight, lightweight, where you have just like studs all the way through, and a guy like maybe Michael Chiesa or Kevin Lee or someone like that aren't going to get the love because they're not as interesting, but they're going to beat those guys that are 65 and stuff like that, or Cowboy.
Maybe.
It's just like, why not have more stars? Obviously, you've already saturated the market. Now
I don't think
saturate
UFC
your product
needs more
also.
fighters and needs more events at this point.
Yeah, no. But at the
But-
same time, they can't have their champions fighting 4 times a year. That's
don't know.
what they're expecting of most of these guys. Like, they have so many cards, literally, what are you going to do? Yeah, how many champions is there? 8, right? There's 12 months in a year, dude. And they're having these guys, they want each fighter at least fight twice a year.
Well, 2 a
if
year
you're
would be
champion.
16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That more than covers all the events on pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, but still, what if you had a guy like Robert Whitaker who just broke his hand and you're going to have to take some time off?
3 a
That
year
fucks
would be,
the entire division. That fucks
24.
all the other champions over. Because then you're a guy like, I don't know, TJ Dillashaw who had a family and, and he won his title and he wanted to take some time off. Now he can't take time off because other people get hurt and the UFC needs him to step in. And then if he doesn't step in, he's berated by Dana White on television and he's pussy and shit, And that's what happens.
All right.
It doesn't make any sense. If you have more champions, you have more flexibility as a promoter as well.
I think that's a good point. I think we should move on to other topics. So we're just going to go back and forth on this one for a minute.
Yeah, I feel it.
You're feeling pro it. I'm against it. Not forever. I just think it needs to start in lower
Doses.
promotions first before it makes its way up, before the UFC ultimately just says, hey, there's a 165er. But
Yeah, I feel it.
I think we can both agree that we've got something needs to be done. Maybe yours is the solution. Maybe there's something we don't know. We're just a couple of fans here.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would be letting us know that they're working on something, though.
Yeah.
Because I think the UFC just going, oh, we're going to move the weigh-ins back to 4. I don't
Doesn't
really
really
think that's going to
change
fucking
anything,
solve the
yeah.
problem.
People are still going to do what they're going to do.
And if you're listening and you're watching, feel free to leave us comments. You got some idea what would solve this problem? Leave a comment. We'd love to hear it. We'd like to hear from you
Yeah, I'm
all
open.
listening as well. Join in our conversation.
Yep.
Got a couple other interesting news items that happened this week as we're coming to a close. We got Michael Bisping, who retired. Him and Rashad together now.
Yep.
A couple of pioneers.
Couple of old
Bisping's
bastards.
cool, man. I like that dude. I think he went out in a shitty way too, just like Rashad. Took some fight he shouldn't have. Got
Yep.
K the fuck owed, but
Yep.
whatever. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I was never a big Bisping fan, but I definitely.
I'm not like a
respect what
huge
he did.
fan, but I'm nostalgic when these old guys leave because it's
Yeah.
like you see an era kind of ending and
Yep.
fading away. He's been
Definitely.
around for fucking ever.
Forever, dude. Holy shit.
Just like Rashad's been around forever. These are
Ever.
guys that who's left now from that era.
Nobody.
I mean, Nick Diaz doesn't really count.
Yeah, no. I don't really think anybody's left.
I mean, he was like the last. Vitor's gone now. I mean,
Anderson?
yeah, I mean, he's still fighting, sort of. We got. I mean,
Jose
Chuck Liddell's
Aldo?
talking about coming back, which makes me
Aldo.
cry. Aldo. You know, he's old
Frankie
school.
Edgar.
Frankie Edgar. They're, you know, you're getting few and far between.
BJ
but
Penn.
BJ Penn, yeah. No, please don't fight anymore, BJ. Please, no. Well, man, we got some exciting things coming up for our podcast in the future. While we talked about earlier, we got International Fight Week coming up. We're hitting up an event there.
Yep.
We're going to be at Fight Week. We're going to be looking to talk to fighters, preferably about their CBD and THC use, how it affects them in their fight prep, if they smoke, if they don't, what they think about that. We're looking to bring some insight, you know, from what it's like here in Vegas going through Fight Week. I mean, if you've been to events out here before, right, Paul?
Yeah.
You've been through Fight Weeks. I have too, UFC fan events. They're fucking awesome. But,
Yeah, it's super fun.
you know, not everybody can fly out to Vegas and attend that kind of stuff. So we're going to let you know what it's like. Hopefully bring you some cool content coming from there. We've got some interviews with fighters that we are working on. We're looking to have some people we can, you know, sit down, smoke some weed,
Yeah.
talk about MMA with, you know. All right, well, that brings this episode to a close, I think, Paul. Really like to thank everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks,
And,
guys.
if you're listening on iTunes, we'd really appreciate a rating. Be sure to subscribe if you're
Get
watching
on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button.
Absolutely. That like button helps us get this video out to as many people as possible. If you want to know more about the podcast, head over to swatmma.com. And finally, Paul, we got to remember to thank our sponsor for this episode, which is CryptoCrewNex.com, where you can pick up some pretty cool cryptocurrency, Bitcoin t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, all cool original designs. It's CryptoCrewNex.com. So with that business out of the way, we're going to keep on smoking some weed and talking some MMA. Peace.
Later.